So I'm looking at you, right? I'm not looking at perfect. Great. You're just in the background. Cool, cool. I think I was in elementary school and I remember being like, she's so pretty. The same way that people would, like, girls my age would talk about boys. And then it was like, that's gay. And I was like, we can't like compliment the same gender? I don't know, that's weird. And then my friend, a good friend of mine, she started identifying as pansexual. But I was like, that that feels like it fits me more. I think that realization probably happened my freshman year of college when I felt like I had the language to match up how I was feeling. I think before then, I used to be very, labels are for soup cans, not people. And so I was trying to reject those labels so much. But when I researched and heard the term pansexuality, I was like, this, it felt like a puzzle piece kind of went into place. I think low key, my mom probably already knew, to be honest. I mean, parents do. My mom was like my best friend. And so, she would say things like, yeah, I don't care, who you love as long as you're happy. She would kind of like drop those little nuggets. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, you're talking about like your lesbian cousins, right? And then you grow up and you're like, no, she was talking about me. By the time I had that kind of revelation, she had passed away. So I never had to have like a coming out story to a family. Being a white woman that was a single mom trying to raise a black child in a city that she wasn't familiar with, I wouldn't say that she was probably the most progressive by our terms now, but through her love for me, she understood her allyship, right? And like we weren't talking about allies in the 90s and early 2000s, right? But in retrospect, it was her love for me that led her to think about things differently. All of how I show up today is really rooted in not only her experience, but all the little gems and nuggets that she taught me. It has been isolating sometimes to be the one and only in the room, to have to bring all of your identities in and actually make sure that they're heard. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of significant emotional labor. But when you find your people, you kind of realize like things are gonna be okay. And oh, that's dope. You think like me, like we are very similar, and I feel some camaraderie in that. I want people to see the fullness of the LGBTQ community and how there's intersecting layers and identities that make us all beautiful for that, but we can't be excluded from the conversation. So when we're talking about LGBT rights, it has to include trans folks, it has to include Black folks. When people say Black Lives Matter but are homophobic, you can't say, Black Lives Matter if you're not supporting all Black lives, including Black trans women. I am the executive director of Black Leaders Organizing for Communities. We launched in November of 2017 in a way to kind of combat some of the narratives that were coming out of the 2016 election. I want to center humanity. And that's ultimately what everything is about, right? It's not about the policy wins or the elected official you help elect. It's none of that. I think of the quote, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. And I always thought that that was very powerful. And then I had to tack on kind of like a second part of it that says future generations will be my wildest dreams, acknowledging that I'm probably not gonna see this utopian liberated world within my lifetime, but I'm doing my part to get there and hopefully be remembered as someone that fought fearlessly for her community.